everyone, and welcome back to yet another edition of In Our Humble Opinion. Ayo. And I am back. My name is Chris, back with my crazy co-host. On my right, I have Gilbert Cheah, and on my left, I have Daisy Irani.
Namaste, namaste, namaste.
And today, we're going to be talking about a couple of things. We're going to start first about this phenomenon called sugar babies. And we're going to be talking also about a new COVID-19 vaccine that's already been given locally in Singapore, as well as Singaporeans working from home being more stressed than our frontline workers, and followed by some amount of racism going on in and around our little island, as well as some alleged racism. And to kick off today's episode, we're going to be talking about how this recession perhaps has gotten deep enough for some people to take on the role of what is termed to be sugar babies. And before we go into that topic deep and down and dirty, speaking about babies, Daisy's got something to say.
Oh, yes. I have something to say not only about babies, but about something that is very, very, very sweet, like sugar. And that is that, first of all, I want to thank the universe, the whole world, and I love each and every person this moment because I have just become a grandmother.
Awesome!
This is my first grandchild, and I got the news just when we were coming up for the podcast at the car park. So
like 10 minutes ago.
Like 10 minutes. So just had to share with each and every one of you that I have my own little sugar baby.
Okay, take it in the proper context.
Yes.
So
please
now, Gilbert, we got to call Daisy Grandma Daisy.
Yes, please. I am fine.
Yes,
You don't mind that?
There's Grandpa Joe in the United States, and there's Grandma Daisy in Singapore.
God, I feel like a baby myself, but I ain't no sugar baby.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Thank
Daisy.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Okay, everybody, back to the topic of about sugar babies. What basically is happening would be there are a number of sugar baby sign-ups, to use the term loosely, from our Singaporean universities. It's on the rise. And basically, most of them are saying it's because of rising university fees. Now, we got some interesting stats. We've got at the top of the list, that's basically the stats for the top 10 sugar baby universities in Singapore. Top of the list would be NTU, followed by SIM, followed by NUS. Fourth on the ranks would be SMU, and then SIT, and then LaSalle, and Murdoch. Outside of the universities, Nanyang Polytechnic, and then MDIS. And believe it or not, bottom of the list, no doubt, but still on the top 10 list, the Singapore Bible College.
Ooh. But
Stunning.
you've covered practically every education institution in this
No.
country.
To be fair, there's a lot. There's some more that wasn't
I'm
listed
sure,
in here.
But
Yeah.
know, the top ones, whether it's NUS or SIM or
Yeah, well, SUTD is not in there, and some more. Shall I
Okay.
go further? No, I would
Yes.
not. But the point is this: is sugar dating wrong? What do you guys think?
Okay. To answer your question, I don't think it is. I think it's up to a person to decide what they want to do with their bodies in their lives. And, who knows what happens if they're going on a date. However, a question I have basically is this assumption that they are doing this because of the rise in university fees. That's an extrapolation there. We don't know what they're doing with this money. And I think it is more to finance the lifestyle that they've become used to rather than really going to university fees, So I would jump at that immediately and analyze that as to say, I don't think that's the reason why. I think that when times are tough, definitely you would see people wanting to do more in any field to try and pay their way in life. And this could be one way of doing it, and this definitely seems to be one way of doing it. But I wouldn't really tie it to the fact that school fees have gone up, because I think that that's an assumption here by the online citizen. So more power to these people if that's what they want to do with by going on dates.
Well, I'd just say that, welcome to the world of modern relationships. I mean, people choose to establish their relationships in many ways, whether it's about getting a mentorship or whether it's having a different kind of relation. And smart kids, I think they've figured it out that, this is a way to support their college education and lifestyle, like you correctly said, that goes with it.
Yes.
But you see, trading sexual favors for financial favors, it just throws the whole concept into a different kind of world. A world where we would use words like prostitution, which is the oldest profession in the world. But then, I mean, today, this whole concept is looked at in a very different way. Like you correctly said, at the end of the day, it's your decision. You have to decide what you'd like to do with it or not.
Yes.
Having said that, what is important for me is that there are dangers to this as well.
Absolutely.
Because if you go into, and I speak on a woman's perspective, that as you go into a relationship like that, you have to be very wary. At that moment, you think, okay, it's a very good deal, it's a business transaction, I give you this, I get this. But then there are cases of sexual violence. There are cases where you might get into a really bad relationship. There are cases where you might never be able to get out of this, and you might be traumatized for the rest of your life because you're young, you're vulnerable. You're doing this for different reasons than just having a relationship. So as a woman, what is truly revealing is that in today's society, is this the easiest and the best option for young people to get through college or to get closer to the lifestyle you really want? Because all this can be is a short-term fix for people.
I also think it's very important to distinguish between women in developed countries like Singapore who do this for a certain lifestyle compared to the kind of prostitution that you see in very poor countries where they're really forced into it, where they are controlled by the pimp, and where it's an issue of life and death for them, In this case, I think that it's much more of a choice.
Oh, absolutely, it is a choice. It's a business transaction.
Yes, exactly.
And the only reason this lifestyle, I mean, we are talking about sugar babies, and it's controversial, is because there are so many lenses that you're looking at through.
Yes.
I mean, you're looking at the moral lens and the religious and the personal. And people are going to judge you regardless. And at the end of the day, I mean, again, it goes down to you are a young lady, you are making this choice. While what you're talking about in the third world countries, I don't think it's a matter of choice
Absolutely,
at all.
It's
you're pushed
life or death.
into
You're
it.
pushed
It's
into
life.
it.
It's a hungry stomach. It's
and that's
so
a baby at
those
home.
really
That's
reasons.
terrible.
But if you want a branded bag, and you want to make this decision,
yes, exactly.
well, power
because
to you.
I have read interviews with sugar babies before who have talked about this, and it's the ones I've read anyhow. And I don't want to say never, but it's not been a question of life and death for them. It's been a question of lifestyle.
But isn't that why maybe the term sugar baby is very different from the word prostitute?
Yeah, of course.
Because the
exactly.
moment you use the word,
Yes.
the word itself conjures up so many visual images
exactly.
of what that woman,
And
the
some
young
of them
girl
actually
would be going
say,
through.
and this is interesting to me because the new world, they say actually there's no sex for them. It basically is going out on dates, it's holding hands, it's
But Gilbert,
whatever.
that's the business transaction.
Yeah.
I have decided with this daddy what I am going to give or not going to give.
Yes.
If daddy likes it, then hey, you're the baby.
What's wrong
But-
with the two of you?
Yeah.
Oh yes, Chris. Would you like to share?
Well, yeah, I've been waiting
about
for like the last 5 minutes to say
Oh,
something.
what is it?
What's
Over
wrong
to
with
Chris,
the two of you?
guys.
You said, Gilbert, that it's okay because it's dates. You said dates just now. Daisy is saying it's a business transaction. Here's my question. Anyone who becomes a sugar daddy pays money for a sugar baby cannot just be to go out to be seen with him. Let's get real. It ends up more often than not, I would surmise, is sex.
Well, that's
so-
what you're surmising. But
Wait. You guys talk. Let me talk. Lah. We're on 5 minutes.
Yeah,
eh.
but
I'm
you're
not done yet. Wait.
saying
Wait. Lah,
what
wait.
you just
Wait. Then again, could this be considered in Singapore's legal context to be illegal? Because plainly, it really would be seen as prostitution, wouldn't it?
But
I would
prostitution
think,
is
I
not
would think that they would, if it were, and the law was interested, this website wouldn't exist in Singapore. It would have been blocked.
No, but
It's
once
been around
again,
for a while.
Just hold it.
Yeah.
Just to go back one step.
So that doesn't mean that it's not illegal just because the authorities haven't clamped down.
No, Chris. I'd just like to ask
I
you
think
a
it's a
question.
grey area.
What is the legal status of prostitution?
It's allowed in
Singapore?
brothels, licensed brothels.
Yeah. That's
But
legal prostitution.
Yeah.
Nowhere in the website, nowhere does anybody specify.
Yes, exactly.
So this is the grey area we are talking
Because
about. the business
exactly.
transaction.
I think it's as hard to legislate something like this and to clamp down as it would be if you were to say that, okay, I went on a date with this woman, a blind date someone set up, and then we ended up having sex after I bought her a nice expensive dinner, for example. You know, I mean, I think that there are a lot of areas which maybe morally we don't agree with, but which the law can't legislate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
That's my feeling.
So I don't know. I mean, like you said, it's grey. You also said it's grey. I think we need to have someone who's in the legal trade to really tell us the fact, whether or not it is legal or illegal. But on a moral, from a moral perspective, I don't know, man. I mean, can you imagine if I had a daughter?
It's a personal choice.
Look,
I
But
think
if
it's
I
a
had a
personal
daughter-
choice, yeah.
no, the thing
Personal
is,
choice or not, everything's about personal choice. I mean,
No, true.
if you commit a crime and you decide to go out there and do something wrong,
Yeah, but is this
it's
a
also
crime or
personal
not?
choice.
No, but
Yeah.
you see, Chris answering, and especially because I've just become grandmother, so yeah, I'm just thinking, and she's a baby girl.
Yeah.
The point is that yes, nobody is endorsing it,
Yes.
but I have spoken to a couple of young girls, not that they are sugar babies, but that thought at that time was that okay, right now I need the money to get me through college. They want to be educated. Maybe the education is the first step for them to continue
Sure.
leading a different kind of life they
Yeah.
envisage for themselves. So, do they look at it as a stepping stone? Do they look at it as something that is going to help them through to get a better life? Are they just doing it for a branded handbag?
Yeah.
There are so many layers
Yes,
of
yeah,
discussion
But
and
in
choices.
Singapore's context, I mean, we're not a third world country, where some, like you said just now, and rightly so, that women who
They have
sell
no
themselves,
options.
they have no
Yeah.
options. There's also, of
tragic.
course, the
Yes,
illegal
it
sex
is.
trade.
That I've
Yes.
seen.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
But in Singapore's context, educated people.
Yeah.
people
That's why I say it's a choice.
But again, what bothers me, I mean,
I'm not saying it's great,
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah, no,
saying
you're
that
endorsing
I don't
it.
want the law.
Yeah, I'm not saying
Yeah.
you're saying
And
it's great.
Yeah,
I'm saying
yeah.
that I need to just have it
Correct,
out.
correct,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
But personally, I feel
But-
that it's not the right thing
Chris,
to do. lah.
Yeah.
Chris, I'm going to give you an example, okay? So just visualize it and tell me what you see. So I'm this young student who's bright, who's just been rejected and denied a scholarship. I know that I can do well in life. There's a course I want to take which is going to move me from one place to the other. And I come home and I see my parents tired of trying to make ends meet, getting older by the day, not even having enough money for their own medical. And then I have to choose, do I give up studying or and give up this life which I know is within my grasp, or do I trade the product? I look at it and say, I look at myself and I say, can I use myself as a product, however heartless it sounds, as a commodity, and trade it? Now, at that point, no father maybe wants this to happen, but these are the kind of choices you are looking at, you see.
Well, you see, the thing is, Daisy, I think that in Singapore, you don't have these kinds of terrible choices if you're a university student.
Yeah.
Because there are student grants, there are student loans,
Yeah.
they're not even not scholarships.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And I was just checking online to see the cost of tuition in US. You know, it's not what you have in the US.
No,
you know,
absolutely
$150,000 US dollars a year. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about what 8,000, 10,000. You know. So I don't think it's ever come to that. I mean, I may be wrong
I think
here.
it's more lifestyle. like
I think
you
it's
said.
much more lifestyle.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
more
No, but
lifestyle.
then that means that we actually have a generation right now that is willing to trade a lot for
Yes.
the
Yes,
bag.
yes, exactly.
For those
Exactly.
going out
And that's
to
why-
parties.
For
Or
the
Yes,
life of me,
yes,
I mean,
yeah.
I hear the two of you. I'm not in total disagreement. Yeah, I see your points of view. But my values
Sure,
that
sure.
I
I
have,
understand.
this allows me
Yeah.
to agree with this.
Yeah.
I cannot. There's also the risk, as you also rightly said, there's a risk about, in case like sugar daddy turns out to be abusive and all
no,
that.
that's the
Yeah.
scary
Mm.
part.
But the other risk would be STDs,
Oh, yeah.
HIV, you know.
But yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you know. This,
yeah, but it's
I said
more
it's not.
exposing yourself
But-
even
Yeah.
more to
Chris,
that, those kind of
the
risks.
reason why you use the word business transaction, however heartless it sounds, is because you are actually assessing the risks. And you're looking at these risks and then deciding, okay, what am I going to do or not do? Like I keep repeating, I'm not endorsing it.
Yes,
But at the
yes.
same time, I think I do not want to be judgmental about it, because what it is a decision made by this woman with the full understanding, because it's not a child here. You're looking at young, smart, educated students.
Yeah, sure. But what I want to say is that it can't be the recession that's prompting a spike in
Yeah.
this sugar babying, sugar daddying thing that's happening in
So
Singapore.
I'm just looking at this
Yeah.
interview here with one sugar baby, and again,
Right.
she may not be representing everyone. Her name is Violet, and she says, she wants to reiterate that sugar dating, she calls it, is a choice of her lifestyle, and it's strictly not prostitution. So she says that it's something that she enjoys.
But I find it hard to swallow that.
She says she's got 2 sugar daddies, both who are both very intellectual and respectful. Her favorite gifts have been branded dresses, shoes, jewelry, and most of all, my favorite gift was a Gucci handbag.
Okay, Gilbert,
So,
I'm going to just take
this
a
is just
pause
one,
there and say
yeah.
we've been discussing a lot about the sugar babies, and I think I've been given a woman's perspective. I'd like to understand a bit more about the sugar daddies. Let's leave sexual favors away, but like Violet just shared with
Yeah.
us, I'm a widower. I want young.
Well, you remember a
company.
few weeks ago we
I'm
were
a-
talking about the lovelorn men who are looking for love.
for love,
So let's say
yeah.
if you're a lovelorn man and you're a multimillionaire or a millionaire, or you're wealthy, this is an easier way than.
Yeah, I mean, and then you have somebody.
And
who
men
build a
have been
relationship with.
paying for
I mean,
companionship.
I'm not going to be so naive as to believe that, it's for companionship. Just come on. I mean, this sugar baby, sugar daddy thing has been going on for ages, even
Oh,
when
yeah.
I was in my younger years, right? And it's also been happening in universities as well, but we didn't have that many back then. So, and more often than not, from what I hear, I am no sugar daddy, so let me just unequivocally state that. That that is about the sex.
Yeah. I don't think that's being denied here, no matter what they say.
And so
but-
we can't say that it's it's a decent thing. It's a question of lifestyle. It is just morally not right.
Yeah.
And we wish all the sugar babies in the world and in Singapore the
We all
best
hope
in
they'll
life.
find other ways to make
and
money.
I really hope you find true love one day, and that your
Yeah.
true love will accept you for
Yes.
everything that you've done, and that's what
Yes.
true love is all about.
But sugar baby doesn't mean that you don't find true love. It's
I
a
didn't say
totally
that. I
different,
didn't say that. I said I just hope you do. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
This recession thing that we're in, it's definitely not. I don't think it's the cause of it, as I've said. And for everyone out there, don't worry about it. We'll get through this. We are more resilient than we think we are. And usually, I'm not giving advice. I'm not giving financial advice on camera, but I am saying that usually this COVID thing is different, but through history, it doesn't go past 2 quarters. The world climbs out of a recession after just 2 quarters. But again, that's not financial advice. It could be different anytime. But there's always a silver lining somewhere.
Yeah.
And since we're on the topic of silver lining, good news on the vaccine in
Yes,
Singapore.
yes,
And it's called, now let me see. It's a kind of cool name. Luna. Luna CoV-19. And it's been developed by Duke NUS Medical School. Well done, guys. And a pharma from the US, Arcturus Therapeutics. And the first phase of the trial has involved volunteers aged 21 and 55. And they are our own locals, our local volunteers. They've been injected with a single shot of the vaccine. This is a single shot vaccine. And from what I know, about 30 million of these single shot vaccines will be in Singapore's hands.
Wow.
And that's exclusively ours. And that we've invested, actually. We didn't know about this, but in recent years, we've invested actually with Arcturus.
Yes.
Well
and the
done.
good thing about it is that they were slated to begin trials in September, but was moved ahead of time because of the preclinical trials exceeding expectations.
So it's good news, right?
It's
Good news.
fantastic.
You're the health guy, man. Tell us more about this.
So
Yes.
it's good news. There are, I think, about 60 different vaccines or more being tested around the world right now.
Uh-huh.
So people are going different ways and different. It's a race basically. So and they all approach it from different ways of getting the body to trigger the immune response. So we'll see. I think clinical trials are very important because the interesting thing is, let's say, for example, you test it to 1,000 people and 999 of the 1,000 have a good reaction to it. Do you know that 1,000 is still not enough? You have to test it to a much bigger sampling of population because there could be people who have conditions that are 1 in 10,000. So if you've only tested 1,000, you're not reaching that 1 in 10,000 condition.
Okay.
And for a vaccine to be really safe and effective, it has to be able to cover that range of people. So for clinical trials, they begin and then they expand and they have to go to a bigger and bigger group of population and people to test it on. Only then will they say it's safe. That's why vaccines take so many years to
long,
develop.
yes.
But every country in the world, especially Russia
Yeah.
and the United States,
Yeah.
are short-circuiting that. They're saying just get it to market, get it to market. And the danger of that, obviously, is two things. One is there could be side effects, which you might have, which is rare, but because you're not in that group of people who are tested, right?
Right.
Your condition is not there. Secondly, is that it could be an ineffective vaccine just because it's a vaccine works in a lab, in vitro on a test tube, doesn't mean it will work in the human body. And this, we see this all the time. So it's a bit of a risk there because of this race to be the first. So people are short-circuiting all of the normal safety things. We want them to be fast, obviously.
Yeah.
But we also want them to be safe.
Safe.
But what do you
yes,
think? What do you
yes,
think? Do you
that's
think
the
this? So this is can okay.
So you look at Russia, for example. Okay?
yeah.
Russia has
The first
short-circuited all of it. They're basically
Yeah.
saying, we're just going to release it out there. The clinical trials will be the people out there. So you're not a volunteer. So basically, the people are becoming the
You're just giving it out.
They're just giving
straight
it out.
away.
And then they're seeing whether or not
But
it
they
works.
have tested it to a point where they feel
They
at least
tested
a
it in
bit
the lab.
confident
They
to
tested
let
it in the
out.
lab,
Right.
and they said that okay, it looks like it's triggering their response in rats or whatever it is, but whether or not it actually works on humans, again,
It's
this is the
debatable.
reality of it. This is how science is. You need to test because people are so different. I could
Yeah.
drink something or eat something, it's fine on me. You take it, you get a rash.
Yeah.
It's because
Yeah.
you've got something about yourself that's
Yeah.
very unique.
Yeah.
So imagine saying it injects into your blood.
Oh dear.
But
But Gilbert, I think it's the kind of decision that they make to think, okay, if it's for the larger good,
Exactly.
like let's say,
Exactly.
I mean, like they were talking about the herd immunity,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That okay, fine, as long as the larger group of people manages and does not get the COVID, I suppose.
Yeah. So okay,
it's-
they asked an epidemiological expert this, and he gave I thought was a brilliant answer. He said, okay, they said, would you take this early vaccine that Russia is giving out? They said, if it was a vaccine for Ebola, for example, because Ebola has a 100% fatality rate,
Right.
everybody who gets
Who
Ebola dies.
Yes.
Then I will take it.
Yes.
But with COVID-19, he says, no, not yet, because first of all, the fatality rate is low, comparatively.
Yes.
Especially if you're a younger, healthier, no precondition sort of a person, then what are the risks? The risk of the virus versus the risk of dying. So he would wait the second stage before he would take the vaccine. So again, the good thing is I'm reassured. What we're talking about here is that this is NUS, Duke, and Singapore.
Yes,
More
correct.
credible.
So more credible.
Yeah.
No shortcuts. You know.
But they did say something which I want to ask you guys. It says the trial, which is being administered by the Singapore Health Investigational Medicine Unit, is expected to last until October this year. So which means they're going to go on for a month. Now, can I just ask, it's just a common guy in the street, and I'm just going to ask this. Does it mean then, with the 30 million vaccinations we've got in hand, once this clinical trials are done in October, that every single citizen ought to be vaccinated? Or is it only for people who contract the virus?
No. Vaccination prevents the contraction of the
correct.
virus. It's not a curative. So you would vaccinate anyone who's not had it to prevent them from getting it. It's just like the flu shot, basically. You
So,
don't give it
which
to someone
means
who's
all
already
of
had
us
it.
have got
All of
to.
us. Well, it's not got to. I don't think they're going to do it that way. I think they will give it to the frontline people, the people most at
But
at
the rest
risk.
of the community?
I don't know how the government's going to do
Exactly.
it. Again, you think
I'm
about it. In
curious about that.
Singapore, vaccinations are mandatory for babies,
For
right?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
So
yes.
it's not untested
research.
ground that they will make it mandatory.
Yeah.
Singapore
Yeah.
does make things mandatory that other countries would gasp at.
And talk about and
But they said that they're using...
protest.
They're using...
Yes.
This vaccine, oh gosh, I'm so bad at this. It says that they're using part of the virus, right?
Yes.
And the protein?
Yes. No, so the way it works basically is that you need to get the body to recognize the virus.
The invader.
And
So
Okay.
then
there are
fight
different
it.
ways of doing it. The normal flu virus, for example, they say, okay, we'll take the virus and we'll weaken it so it will not spread and cause it.
Right.
Introduce it to your body then recognizes the DNA, the code of this
Attacks.
virus, and then builds some immunity to it, basically.
So does this mean, like, for example, when we take inoculation shots, right? We do expect to get a bit of the symptoms.
No, because it doesn't first of all, it's too weak if they go that route. There are different vaccines. There are vaccines now that basically just do the DNA of the virus and they don't give you actual virus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like the flu shot.
So just to prevent.
Yes.
The flu
and
shot,
even
you
with
do
the
get a bit of a fever and all that kind of stuff, right? Don't you?
not anymore.
Really?
No, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's science progress.
Yes.
What's interesting though is that and this is something which a lot of people probably don't know about, but everyone should know about it. One reason to not be overweight is that, first of all, if you're overweight or obese, you have a higher chance of death and serious consequences from COVID. COVID affects overweight people much more. That is a big factor, which a lot of people,
Really?
yes.
Yes.
And one of the reasons why in America they're having such a bad reaction to it is because of the high number of overweight people.
Obese.
And why it's affecting, for example, the minority African American population there very much is because there's a high percentage of overweight people. So you look at it and you say it doesn't make sense because they're young and they should not be having such symptoms, but they're young and they're overweight or they're young and they're obese. So that's one of the things there. Secondly, the vaccine does not work well or at all with overweight people.
Oh, Chris, you're such in trouble.
So
No, you're muscular.
No, so
Yeah, so that
you
is
then
a-
have to really get fit and start NS there in the US, I think.
Well, there's
Get all those guys to
it's
do
not
the
just
burpees
NS,
and-
but
It's
yeah,
about the
yeah.
diet.
It's, and lifestyle. Yeah, that's really
and the
a
fact
big
that
deal.
you can't
Good
make them-
grief. Speaking of diets, man, just as an aside, Chris always like to digress. I was watching this thing on Netflix. It's called Barbecue. You guys should watch it, man. I tell you, if you don't get hungry.
It's the guy
after
who
that-
does it on the roof.
No. This is about all the different
Does it in the
barbecues in the
garden.
world.
Oh, okay.
The Mexican form of barbecue, the
Ah,
Mongolian, the Mongolian one. My goodness. Scary, man, but it looks pretty interesting.
Okay.
Then the one in Texas.
Oh yes, Texas barbecue.
40 plus cows in a day, and I get hungry. And I tell you, the boom, boom, pop,
Yeah.
slab of meat that just put in the grill. Oh, man.
It's
Yep,
the
I used to
quantity.
live in the US.
When you are having
yeah.
that Texas barbecue, think of the quantity.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I got so overweight
like
when I was living in the US.
I like my protein, thanks.
Yeah.
But
So,
quantity. Quality versus quantity.
Oh,
Okay, so
grandma.
fingers crossed for this vaccine, and
Yeah.
I
Yes,
hope it will be
absolutely,
well, and
absolutely.
Man, and then we go back, hopefully, to some form of normalcy. Some form, at least.
Yes.
Some form of
Some form.
normalcy.
Yeah.
Okay. There's this news going around, and, I can completely relate to this stuff. About people, there's a survey that went out, actually. Survey results came out. And that more people who are working from home feel so stressed as compared to those on the front line of the COVID-19 fight. And, what's
So
your
staying home
take?
with your family is even worse than being in the front line
Oh, no,
fighting.
no,
I think there's actually a couple of things about this. One is that the frontline workers, they are in their jobs. They've been doing their
Yes.
jobs for years.
Yes.
It's a routine to them, and even though they are stressed out by the number of cases and the dangers, they're well protected in Singapore with the PPEs. They've got the protocol. So I think the stress level would not be the same as people who are thrown into an unusual situation of being home with in-laws, with children, not being able to go to school, and all of that.
yes,
So
yes.
I can understand that. What's interesting about the survey, though, this resilience survey, they called it, that was conducted by NUS, is that there were two parts to that. So one was about them working from home, and the other one was comparing the different age groups and genders. And they found that people under 45 had a much more difficult time, were much more stressed, had less mental resilience, were more concerned about things, worried than the people over 45.
Over 40.
And I watched an interesting interview yesterday with a sociologist about this, and they're saying that, the older generation have eaten bitter. They've suffered more in their lives, than the younger ones, and therefore they probably are more used to a bit more hardship, and this doesn't affect them
Yes,
so much.
yes,
And the
yes.
younger people are more concerned about what their peers think about them. They're more interested. They're more concerned about these kinds of things. So I think there's something to be said about strawberry or raspberry generation.
Well, I
Strawberries. Just don't insult the raspberries, please.
no, I agree with you, Gilbert. But the thing is, you don't have to have tasted bitter, to get less stressed. I think just living through life, just experiences. And also, when you are younger, you have, financial stresses. The mortgages are different. What you want your life to be
Yeah,
is different.
But I disagree with this survey.
Sorry. What I want to say especially is that you're talking about the frontline workers, right? I think when you go out to work, you're very focused. This is my work.
Yes, yes.
I'm going to complete it, and then I go home.
Yeah.
I think this whole situation where you're at home, you're working, there are people for whom the work never ends. They think they are all the time at work.
Yeah.
There are moms that I've seen who are pulling their hair because the kids suddenly
yes.
are at home doing
Yes.
online,
Yes.
classes. So I think that adds to
I
stress.
think
If you
having
have
the
a young
kids at home
family-
before schools reopened drove a lot of people crazy,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
with the online learning. I mean, how was it for you? You have a
Yeah,
11-year-old.
I do.
Yes.
So what was it like for him?
That's why I felt that I was about to say this just now, that, this survey is a bit funny because it shouldn't be compared to frontline workers.
Yes, yes,
It should just
exactly.
be compared to your previous
normal
normal
life.
working life,
Yes,
working
yes.
out in the
Because
office.
they see the
that would
they
be
see
better.
the-
Yeah.
So, but I would like to look at it from that perspective. And you're right. Working from home, there's just no sanctity, where time is concerned.
Yeah.
Right? My wife had to work from home. She still is working from home. For me, I've always been telecommuting. I have an office. I can go into my office whenever I want. I come out and all that. It's all cool.
Yeah.
I'm used to it. Yeah. But clients don't seem to understand the sanctity of night and day. Bosses, the same. Right?
Hey, they're both going to watch you, so don't say anything.
No, I got no boss. Sorry, I'm the boss. So, yeah.
Clients?
And I don't, well, I do, but not always, bother my people,
But
late
Chris,
at night.
I want to add something to that. You see, what happens is, there's so much uncertainty right now, and there's an overall looming stress, and you don't know whether you're going to have a job tomorrow or not.
That's
and
the reason
also
why-
makes people work longer. Okay, the client calls, yes sir, no sir,
Exactly.
full
So
sir.
people are taking advantage of this selfishly because they know, if you want to keep your job, you better accept it. That is so shitty, in my opinion, because come on, people have families too. People need their rest. You don't want to exhaust people out, right? And I can tell you, people working from home, they get very, very exhausted. You can have bosses calling for meetings at 10 p.m. at night. Are you kidding me? There are cases like that.
I think it's crazy.
It's
But
crazy.
but then there have been situations where so many women feel that at least they are at home and they have an eye on their kids during these times.
Yeah, but how about
It's
young
stressful,
couples
but
with
yet
no
it's
children?
kind
Young
of-
couples with no children, and
Oh,
they want to
yes.
make babies.
Oh,
They
yes.
can't make babies because of this. Hello, you're at home, but you cannot make babies. Doesn't help the population.
I
So-
thought it was going to be that we're going to see a population explosion because of that, but actually we're
Yes.
not.
Yeah, we're not. You know, like for
But
instance,
while they are busy with their online class, no.
who? Who's busy with the online class?
kids.
The kids, yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about making babies with the wife, or the wife making babies with the husband. You know what I'm saying? Not about the kids. Yeah, but the
But
kids-
the online classes were really very stressful for
Yes.
parents.
yeah,
And for
yeah,
teachers.
yeah.
And for
And
teachers.
for
And
teachers.
for
who
teachers.
had
And
to
it's
get
not
it
the
all
same.
done
Yeah,
so
it's
The
not the
fast.
learning
same.
isn't the
Yeah,
same.
yeah,
It's
definitely
just
not the
not the
same.
same.
Yep.
But this is just this also this thing. This one I saw this, and
What happened?
Okay, take a deep breath.
Take a deep. No, what is it? Now I'm really
you
anxious.
you know,
Are
there's
you
this
stressed
is
about
WhatsApp
something,
that's been
Chris?
going around.
Are you stressed about something?
I'm not stressed. I'm just really disappointed that's happening in my country.
And
That
what?
you know, for example, Daisy, you mentioned this before about when you guys were looking for a home,
Oh,
right?
yes, yes.
Right? And you know,
What we went through every
yeah,
time
yeah,
they look
and
at
it's
you.
happening also
Again.
to our local Singaporeans.
You
right?
are Indian.
This is
out.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So there's this conversation, this screen grab that's been circulating of this real estate agent trying to rent out a particular unit, right? And this conversation went this way to this other person from the real estate person. Hi, the unit is back in market. How many of you and where you're from, right? And then after that, I'm interested. This person says, you know. And then, cut long story short, 4 packs, all Singaporeans. They specifically had to say 4 packs, all Singaporeans. We're looking at a year lease. The next question a real estate agent asked was, Chinese? Jeez.
I thought they said Singaporeans was good enough.
You have your own place? I mean, for crying out loud, if they have their own place,
Why are they
wouldn't
renting? Yeah.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, that's such a dingbat question, right? No, that didn't get me riled up. Yeah, what got me riled up was this is what the person replied: 2 Chinese, 2 Eurasians. Then they went, must be Chinese, yeah. And then the real estate agent says, landlord rejects Indians and Malays.
You
And
know,
Then after that, wow, the person responded, a racist. It's okay, we don't want the house.
Yeah.
And the guy responded with a, okay. Then the person added on and said, then again, I mentioned Eurasians, but sure. Then you know what the real estate agent response was? Not a racist, but who can keep house clean.
yeah. It's
So
terrible.
only the Chinese can keep house
Yes.
clean.
Yeah. No. Again, you know, this is something which has driven me crazy also. As someone who used to live in the US where this is illegal, you know, I'm amazed that in Singapore that this is actually one of many examples of people who discriminate in housing against different races. You know, and what is amazing is that when you actually read it online and you see the comments by people defending this, there are a lot of people who said, of course the landlord should be able to choose based on race because, you know, Indians can't keep the place clean, Malays are lazy, whatever. So you go into all these horrible racial stereotypes, you know, and this is Singapore.
But many people think that this is okay.
Yes, exactly. That's
How
the
can
problem.
anyone think that this is okay?
I'm with you on that. I think it's appalling. And yet I discussed this even with friends of mine who have defended this. So let's put it this way, okay? I can understand if a landlord is saying, I don't want my place to be dirtied up. Then you say, I don't want dirty people. You know, you say, I want people who can put a deposit down to make sure the place gets clean. I want to make sure this. You address the behavior.
Correct.
You don't tarnish an entire race or culture
Yes.
because of this. You know, I find that appalling.
Yeah, I see, I'm Eurasian. What would these people think? I live in a pigsty. That I roll around in the bloody mud. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, it is not okay.
Yeah, it's not okay.
It's not okay.
I mean,
this cannot happen in my country.
Yeah.
We've had this discussion before, and you know that
Yes.
song, everybody's a little bit racist.
Yep.
But I think what has happened is because of the social media and because of people now coming out and talking much more boldly about it, putting in, actual examples of it. Moving forward, like you said, Chris, not in our country, dialogue,
Yeah, we gotta
education,
stop.
I hope it changes.
understanding.
I hope it changes because
discussions.
this kind of racism has been around for forever.
Yeah.
I'm sure that 50, 60, 100 years ago people were feeling this way, but now I think that there needs to be a change because people are putting it online and people are highlighting
No,
it.
and it is because of that there will be change, because you have to now confront it.
Yes.
And change takes place when it hits you.
But
it's
people-
not
yes, but
hidden
people
away,
have to-
it's not spoken
In a way,
about.
they have to be shamed out of this.
Right, because see, when it happened to me so many years ago, and I was told that the landlord does not want, I was hurt, I was upset, I was shocked, there was a lot of
Yeah.
emotions going through, but I didn't say anything till somebody else gave me the place that I wanted, and we moved on.
Yeah.
But now the change is happening, and it's
Yeah,
happening
yeah,
fast,
yeah.
and
I
nobody's
hope
going to
so.
take this.
Because
I just want to say that whatever it is, anyone watching the show or even this because this whole thing has been trending in Twitter, and some people actually say it's cool. Some people say don't be so sensitive.
Yes.
Hey, hello. If you are
on
not
the receiving end.
yeah,
Yes,
if you're
exactly.
not amongst the ethnic minority,
That's
you will
right.
never understand
Exactly.
how horrible
it
this
is.
feels.
Exactly.
So if you don't belong to ethnic minority, please hold your comments
Yes.
to yourself.
Yeah, because that's exactly the definition of privilege is that you think because it doesn't happen to you, it's okay. It doesn't happen to other people, or you deny the effects of this. And as someone who used to live in the US and who saw this kind of discrimination and experienced it, that's one of the reasons why I call it out here in Singapore.
Correct.
And I think this has been going on for some time. That it's really grating on some of the nerves of our people.
Yes.
And just to cite an example, an SBS transit bus was interrupted a couple of days ago. Actually, yesterday.
Yesterday,
The
yes.
driver refused to continue driving, or its commuters, because a man allegedly forced his way onto the bus after being denied entry because he was wearing a neck gaiter instead of a
The one
face
you
mask.
cover
The one
your-
where you
Yes.
cover up, which we see a lot of delivery guys actually use, right?
Yes.
And I figured where according to MOH's regulations, it's actually okay for you to make or create or
Yes.
develop
Yes,
your own
exactly.
mask,
Yes.
as long as it covers your nose.
Yes.
And that was and your mouth, and that was what this passenger was saying, that it's allowed. Why aren't you letting me? Then he started accusing the driver, who's from China, and who spoke to him in Chinese. Yeah, and he couldn't speak English. He accused the driver of being racist. What's your take?
Okay, I think there are a couple of different issues here, right? First of all,
Yeah.
SBS, is it SBS, right? Okay,
Yeah.
needs to tell all its drivers what is allowed, what's not allowed. And according to MOH, I'll read, any mask that, quote, covers the nose and mouth and offers adequate basic protection is allowed. This includes reusable face masks and DIY masks. All right?
Correct.
So the driver should have been told that this is allowed, or explicitly, no, the rules have changed, this is not allowed. There seems to be some ambiguity here. Secondly, is that the ability to speak English, I think, to at least a rudimentary level is important.
Yes.
All right, because we live in a multicultural
Yeah.
society.
Yes.
So
That was his gripe, actually.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But don't
yes.
don't say it's racist because if the person is unable to speak English, it doesn't mean that they're discriminating against you. That's something which I think would be
But
good.
nerves
here.
are being rattled, don't you think?
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
You
And I
see-
think it's
You
it's
see, I look at it, and you're absolutely right. The thing is, I'm thinking of this bus driver who might very well be from China, and he wants to hold on to his job.
Yeah.
And he's been given this discussion. He's been told there's this mask, and what this individual coming into my bus is wearing is not what I've been told.
Yes.
Is a mask.
Yes.
And then he just wants to be sure. So
Sure.
he quickly calls the authorities, and he's busy talking in Chinese, and the person coming into the bus is getting upset, rattled. So here the
Okay,
driver
yeah.
makes a wrong call. The passenger gets upset because he's not answering him. And what is shocking is that wherever the communication, it's going all
Yes,
over the
yes.
place. And it comes down again to racism.
Okay. And here's something which I think is missed. A lot of people may miss when they read the story, which jumped out at me, which is very important. A passenger who saw all of this happening, delaying, took out an extra mask
And gave it
and
to
offered
him.
it to the
yeah.
guy
And he said no.
who said no.
Yeah.
I
He
want
said
to.
no because
Yeah.
of good reason. Because he really believes he's done nothing wrong.
And he
Yeah.
hasn't.
Right? And
hasn't.
and he would actually be admitting that he's been wrong all the while by accepting the mask.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think SBS needs to make it very clear.
Yes.
So if they say that this are not allowed, they need to put up signs at the front of the bus.
Yeah.
to say
it's not allowed.
I just want to end this topic with this, for the benefit of our viewers and listeners, that according to the COVID-19 Temporary Measures Control Order Regulations 2020 defines a mask as including any paper or textile covering designed or made to be worn over the nose and mouth
Yeah.
to provide the wearer protection against infections or air pollution,
Yeah.
but excludes a face shield. So
Yes. Correct.
let's not be so quick to judge people, because this guy also did say that he's been told ever so often that, wear a mask. As a Singaporean, he said, as a Singaporean, I face this every day. People who don't understand English telling me to wear a mask when I am wearing a mask.
Yeah.
So let's get this right, people, that it is okay at least where the law is concerned.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
But
So
you
we-
see, Chris, I just look at this whole situation and think about it and say, yes, it's okay. You speak English, you speak Chinese and don't speak English. But see how much and how important communication is. Because if for a single second the passenger could have got it across and said exactly what you said, that no, this is allowed, I'm
Yeah.
fine. Okay, please hold on, let me check with the authorities. Everything would be civil, all the boxes would have been checked. And then this thing moves on to, you don't speak English, these are the kind
Yeah, of course.
China
Yeah,
people I
yeah,
come.
yeah.
You are in. Next thing you know,
All the
racist.
triggers,
nerves get rattled,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
that's what started
Yeah.
scaring me a bit now, because when you start looking at every small skirmish with a racist lens, where will we go to?
Yeah.
And this has to be nipped in the bud.
And on that note, Daisy,
Yes.
Grandma,
Yes.
we're going to give you the privilege and honor of ending this episode.
Oh, thank you, because I need to go to meet my my sugar, my sweet, oh my God, and meet.
Please don't call her sugar baby, please.
No. I'm my butt to my darling, my Jana. Okay, but I need to end the show before that.
Yes.
So, like we were talking
What does
today,
Omakayam
it's
say?
been yes. You know something? All right. And you know what? I remember this laughter. It rang in my ears whole week.
We meant the best.
No, and because you did. Today, because we were going to talk about relationships, today we were going to talk about the situation right now.
It won't
which
be
is so
short scope.
stressed. The situation which is stressed.
Yes.
And how we're going to handle it.
Yes.
And I'm going to think about my little
Yes.
little baby, and what am I going to tell her? So, I have got a quote from none other than your favorite Umar Khayyam. So that, all this laughter is not in vain. And he said, dead yesterdays and unborn tomorrows. Dead yesterdays and unborn tomorrows. Why fret about it if today is sweet? And yes, today for me is very, very sweet.
Wonderful.
I wish it is sweet for each and every one of you out there. Make the rest of the evening sweet, the rest of your week till you see us again. And please continue to listen to us and on all the different platforms. Have a wonderful, wonderful, sweet evening ahead. And I'm going to leave it to my other two co-hosts before I end to have a quick one.
Yes,
one.
okay.
Go ahead.
No Omar Khayyam quote from me. But basically, it will be a quote from a rabbi who actually said, which I think is a beautiful quote. It says that every child brings with him the message that God is not yet discouraged of the world.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
such a lovely message.
And I think that's very true. And I hope that the message for all of us would be that we do not get discouraged of the world, and that we still believe that we can make a change, and be good and effect good out there. So be well and be safe. Most of all, be kind.
Be kind.
Yes.
See lah, the two of you got people to quote from. I need to find my
No.
my own
Otherwise-
damn Omar
No,
Khayyam.
cannot.
Just
Only
be
one
Omar
person,
Ayam.
only grandma quotes. You see, only you have to be
boy.
wise and have white hair to quote. You can't just quote like that. You need to earn it.
I just want to say to all sugar daddies out there, I want to quote this particular person, and his name is Bob Marley. No woman, no cry.
No,
Okay.
woman, no cry. Okay, bye guys. Bye. Have a
Until
lovely
next time,
evening.
people, stay safe. Yep.
Namaste.
Yeah.
Namaste,
Vaccines
namaste.
coming soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye bye.